The ontological argument is a philosophical reasoning for the existence of God based purely on the concept or definition of God itself. Unlike cosmological or teleological arguments, which depend on empirical observations, the ontological argument is a form of a priori reasoning. It attempts to prove God's existence through logic alone. First articulated by St. Anselm of Canterbury in the 11th century, the classic version begins with the definition of God as that than which nothing greater can be conceived. Anselm argues that existing in reality is greater than existing merely in the mind. Therefore, if God exists only in the mind, then we could conceive of a greater being, one that exists in reality. But this contradicts the very definition of God. Thus, Anselm concludes, God must exist in reality. This reasoning provoked significant debate. One of the earliest and most famous critics was the monk Gaunilo, who used the analogy of a perfect island. If one imagined the greatest possible island, Gaunilo argued, it would follow by Anselm's logic that such an island must exist, yet this is clearly absurd. Anselm responded that his argument applies uniquely to necessary beings like God, not contingent beings like islands. Later philosophers such as René Descartes reformulated the argument, asserting that existence is a necessary attribute of a supremely perfect being. In the 20th century, Kurt Gödel developed a modal logic version, using formal systems to argue that if it's possible a maximally great being exists, then such a being exists necessarily. However, critics like Immanuel Kant argued that existence is not a predicate, that is, it adds nothing to the concept of a thing. Simply defining something into existence, Kant said, does not prove it exists. Despite criticisms, the ontological argument continues to provoke interest, not only among theists, but also among logicians and metaphysicians. Its enduring legacy lies in the way it stretches the limits of thought, challenging us to consider whether pure reason alone can unveil truths about existence, necessity, and the divine. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.